Let's see. Okay. I saw a message on my computer pop up. I still see your splash screen. Oh, wait. I see. What? Oh, there's an ad going right now. Ah, I see myself now.
Hey, hey everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Well, I hear you.
Exclusive. Carlos, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Reef Jeeves. Mom, no, nothing yet. Hopefully. Reef Jeeves, how's it going? Yep, it's been a long time. Can you guys hear us? Maybe we're a little behind, Alex. So,
Yeah, it might be a touch behind.
okay, he said you can hear me fine. Can you hear Alex?
Can you hear me? Maybe.
Oh, they can hear and see us both. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen you that happy in a while.
Woo. Yes, we've been messing with this for a while behind the scenes. So thank you that we can hear it. So good night, everyone. Long time no see. Haven't seen me in a while. Haven't seen Alex in a while. So we thought we would come back with a bang.
Well, thanks
For
for
you
having me
guys,
on. I appreciate it.
all right. So for everyone who doesn't remember me, reefing with O. I think last time you guys heard from me, my tank crashed. It's behind me. It's doing well. It's doing well. It's coming back. I will do an update video soon. But tonight, it's not about me and my tank. It's about Alex. So, Alice, tell us your name. Tell us, about your system. Just give us an overview and tell us what's been going on since the last time we heard from you.
All right. Well, I'll try to keep this really short since there could be a lot of talking involved. My name's Alex G. Alex G's Aquarium. I got a YouTube channel going. And going for about a couple years, and I have not made any videos in several months. And talking to he wanted to kind of talk about the tanks and pretty much from last winter up until now, I've been incredibly busy with work and family, and the tanks are doing good right now. Fish wise, everything's done pretty good. A couple miscellaneous losses, but nothing major. Corals, unfortunately, I did lose quite a few over the summer, just because of work and uh, it was kind of one of these slow coral crashes where it was like, oh, I walk in, I go, oh, that's not looking good. That'll be okay in a couple days, and then it's just gone. And unfortunately, it progressed through, and it wiped out a lot of my SPS. It wiped out a good chunk of the LPS corals, and unfortunately, it got a couple that I probably will not be able to get back, like Wesophilias, but the soft corals did great, and some of the other LPS did good. I've started a big regimen of water changes a couple months back, and basically started doing 200 gallons of water every 2 weeks. And I have now gotten out to once a month doing 200 gallons. Everything's pretty much stabled out. I think I only have like one Gargonian that's not looking that hot, but it's just encrusted our rock, so I'm not too concerned. But the LPS stabilized, the SPS is starting to grow again, and the softies are still going great. And the LPS I have are starting to look really good again. So if you're not familiar with my system, it's got a little size on it. I'll flip the camera around here.
A little
It's in my
size.
basement. So let me just see so I can see. So this is my fish display. These are both plywood tanks I built myself. So this is my fish display. It's 720 gallons.
Wait, hang on a second. I think you glossed over something there. You said
Oh,
you built it yourself.
yes. I built all of this on my own. They're plywood tanks, uh, all the electrical, all the plumbing, the tanks themselves, the filtration. I did a pretty good chunk. The only thing I didn't build on my own really was uh, a frag tank, calcium reactor, and of course the pumps. But
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right.
so it's all contained in my basement. I think overall, probably a little closer to about 1,700 gallons of total water volume right now, as opposed to I used to call it 1,600, but with the addition of a frag tank, it's probably a little closer to 17 now. But
Now that tank is big, but I don't know if it's just scale. But what are the sizes in some of those fish? Because for instance, that yellow tank that's right in the front and that fox face, like how big are those fish?
so here's a good example. Here's a pair of glasses, some orange glasses. So my puffer's right up against the glass, so he's about that full size. Um, my my clown trigger, he's getting up there, and of course Fatty back there. He's one of the bigger fish in the tank. My puffer, he's very lazy.
Oh man.
So my Cuban hog, our Spanish hog, sorry, he's grown a couple inches. So my angels are starting to transition now. My annularis I got was still a full juvenile and is partially transitioned to an adult, and the emperor angel is just starting the transition. And just see just a tiny bit of yellow coming in.
And
So,
and you don't have any corals in that tank because a lot of those fish on Live
uh,
Aquaria we see them as not reef safe.
there is a single. I'll just throw this in front. A single little piece of Blue Ridge. Uh, I had some other soft. I had oh, what the heck? I can't think of it. A colt core. I had a couple colt corals in here, and they just kind of slowly didn't make it. And I don't know if it was part of my coral crash, or I tend to think more now that it was probably them just getting picked at. Uh, just the way it is with it, I left this one in here for now, and I might actually pull out the frag plug and put it back in my other tank. But for now, I'm not going to try and do any more corals in here. There is a sea urchin in here, and for whatever reason, the predatory fish in here ate all the other sea urchins, including the long spines, but they will not touch this one. I'm guessing it tastes bad.
The wait, your fish ate urchins, the long spine urchins?
Oh yeah, the long spine sea urchins. I had a couple that were 8 to 10 inches. Well, I shouldn't say a couple. I had 5 long spine sea urchins that were 8 to 10 inches in diameter, and between him and my puffer, uh, they ate all the spines off of them slowly, uh, like they were just eating a little piece of candy. And then once they cracked them open, everybody joined in. Angels, wrasses, tangs. So
I hope this doesn't sound too sick, but I hope you have video of that somewhere.
I do have a little bit of video of one of the. I think one time I got the puffer doing it, and I mean it's actually a good exercise for them. I do try to feed them shrimp and clams and squid to keep their teeth dulled down. And my dog face there, actually he'll chew on the rocks on his own sometimes. So, but yeah, that some of these fish have grown quite a bit. Some I can't notice as much. Probably the most noticeable is this clown trigger, which last December I was looking, almost was eaten by my puffer. It actually went halfway down its mouth and dislocated his jaw, and he recovered on his own. So he wasn't any bigger than a damsel uh, last December. So this guy's getting pretty good size pretty quick.
Yeah, how much food do you feed that tank?
I feed the automatic feeder feeds PE mysis pellets every twice a day, and then every other day I feed about half to 2/3 of a sheet of nori and 3 cocktail shrimp, whole, thawed out, uncooked, deveined. tails on, and I'll usually throw in some LRS or rods food too. So it's a lot that goes into this. The big pupper, he'll take a whole shrimp and a half on his own. The triggers and everyone else will take the other shrimp and a half and the rest of the food.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. Wow. That's a lot of food.
Oh yeah. That I will say, going to the grocery store, I have a local Asian market that I can get a lot of interesting seafood products from is the way to go.
All right. I'm sorry you can't put corals in that tank. I did. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite out of the two, but I did like.
Uh, to be honest, I might venture into that. That was kind of the plan originally, was to start off in the other tank and then potentially work some corals in here in the future. So right now, I'm more focused on the other tank and getting it up and going all the way, as I still have a ways to go in filling this tank.
Ooh, now here we go.
So this is the 480-gallon reef tank. So the only difference in dimensions is the reef tank is 2 feet tall and the fish tank is 3 feet tall. They're both 8 feet long and 4 feet front to back. So they're very deep tanks. Which on some of these corals and the anemones, it's kind of hard to scale just how big they are. Even looking at the sea anemone, I'm over a foot away from it still. And that,
Even though it's at the front of your tank, it's still a
yeah,
foot away from you.
it's about a foot away from the glass. And then my Sinularia, there's that's getting a little closer into like the 3 foot realm almost. And then the bubble coral is occupying like the 3 to 4 foot space back there. So that one's probably the most difficult to really understand just how big that coral is. We'll do some top down in a bit, but that's my those are my tanks. And of course I got my water storage here. I keep 200 gallons of fresh water, unless I'm mixing up salt water, and then I'll do it there. I got a 7-stage RODI system I use.
Why do you need 7 stages?
So I found when I first started, I'm on a municipal supply, which is just a local well. So I do have to run a water softener, which I actually bypass to go to my RO system because it's a lower TDS coming from the supply itself before going through the softener. So I run 200 gallon per day membranes, but I'll run my first pre-stage, which this one's due for a change right now. And then I'll do a 5 micron carbon, a 1 micron carbon. But what I found was something early on with this tank. I did have a lot of algae issues. I had just a pre-filter and a carbon and a single DI, but I was burning through this so quickly. Started doing more research on DI resins, and I finally went with a BRS triple DI saver. So I run the Caton, the Anon, and the mixed speed resin, which they're actually about due for a change. But even when they're this color, I'm still producing only like 2 TDS on my water, which I find to be acceptable.
Okay, okay, okay.
I do have a booster pump too, because my municipal water supply is only about 40 psi.
Okay.
Questions so far?
All right. Anyone has any questions? I know I CJ saying that bubble coral is huge. I know that bubble coral is huge. I was telling him before the stream that I like it. Also because the polyps aren't all one color. There's like a few different shades of green. If you have any questions, post them for Alex, and well, I'm seeing a lot of comments. That bubble coral is huge. I love that bubble coral.
I'm a stickler for these, and I will say its origin. My LFS got it in last January from one of his customers that had it in their display for 6 years, and it outgrew his display. And when he got it in, He told me, and he's like a good friend of mine. He said, "I really want you to get this coral." So we worked out a what I consider to be a very fair price, and it had business travel, so we had to hold it for a while. And I said, when I come back, I'll buy it. So I got it, and I cleared out a whole section of tank for it, which it is starting to outgrow, and we'll probably need to get more space in the next few months.
Yeah, if it outgrows your tanks, then it needs to go to a museum or somewhere because
Oh, we got plenty of room in here.
yeah.
I can move more stuff if I have to.
All right, we have a couple of questions. How is the mantis faring?
Um, she is doing good. I don't know if she's going to be out. I just fed her yesterday. So let me back this up here. So I kind of went in, but this is my filtration room. Uh, so my first stage sump here is that's 265-gallon tank, 150-gallon refuge, 120-gallon sump that is also my heat exchanger, and then the newest addition that's finally got a light on it is my frag tank, which is a 50 low boy. The mantis, she's doing good. Sorry, I don't clean this glass often, as you can tell.
How big is
Don't.
the mantis now?
Uh, she's probably about 2.5, 3 inches. They don't grow very quickly.
Okay, all right. So if she, all right,
But
all right. I want you to tell us a little bit more about the filtration soon, but let me get another question in here. If these tanks are on the same system, what are the nitrates with all those fish and feedings?
I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't tested nitrates in a couple of months.
Okay, what was it before the last time you
Uh,
tested?
Usually it was right around 10.
10?
So yeah, right around 10. So really, my phosphate used to hold somewhere between point oh 0.03, point oh 0.05, and nitrates would hold at 10. So the real reason for that is this refugium, because while it looks really ugly and disgusting here, this is all macroalgae in here, um, cyano growing, and then this is my ball of Chaeto, which, you know, figure this is about 18 inches wide, and it's probably running down almost the depth of this front to back. So I just yank a big chunk of it out every now and then, and it takes care of it takes care of the nitrates and phosphates for me.
The other question, I don't know how serious it is Woody's asking, can I come live in your basement?
Well, if there was the right amount of rent involved, I don't know, maybe.
All right. So since we went into, since someone, we're already talking about the filtration room, just give us a tour of the filtration room. I know I still can't believe I remember when you were building the protein skimmer, but just give us a quick overview of
All
man.
right, well, let me reposition here.
All right.
So we'll start at the main return here, just because this is probably the most logical point. So I got a reflow hammerhead in here. I've done 3 seal replacements since the very start of the build. One at the beginning, uh, one after the first year, one I just hit year 2. So uh, you can see every now and then it'll spray a little water as the seals get older. But
Why do you
I
need to
replace it.
replace the
I
seals
re-
in those? I've never used one of those, so I don't know anything about that.
uh, so essentially, what it is that you have 2 ceramic rings that get compressed together between the impeller and a spring. I can get one out in a bit. It just holds the seal. They're only good for about a year to 18 months generally. A lot of times people push them a little too far, and they end up having, unfortunately, they'll have a flood, and they get angry and say reflows suck. And I kind of go, it's better to preemptively replace seals than, you know, not and just wait. I do have a spare pump with a brand new seal installed too, so I make it a habit of making sure I got a spare pump and spare seals.
Okay.
So it's a 6,000 gallon per hour pump. It's got it's just got its big impeller in it. It comes with two different sizes, but I put the big one in. So the water gets pumped up and it goes all the way to my ceiling. And then it does two drops, one for my reef tank, and then it does a second drop here for my fish tank, which I do have it valved off just slightly, but once the water's in the tanks, I got some DIY overflows that I made. I got three. They're 1.5-inch bulkheads, and those come down into my drain system. So let me crouch down here. So they all drain into a single common point 3-inch line, which I do keep it vented. And then I'll just kind of walk down it. All of them just come right down. And then they drop down into a giant U-trap, just like a kitchen sink or a bathroom sink, and then it comes up. You'll notice where the water line is here and here, it's slightly lower on this side. You can just kind of see it there a little bit. And this is where it feeds into the sump. I have a filter sock tray. I do have a couple socks that have been in there a few months. I just haven't done anything with. And this other line that drains down feeds my protein skimmer. So the protein skimmer does not have a water feed pump to just get water through it. It's gravity fed.
Oh. And
so,
then, okay.
So there's two recirculation pumps that are J-Bows. I did swap one of them out to a newer style because the controller on it failed. So there's two of those pumps, and they're running full blast. One of them sucking an outside air line here, which it's getting pretty cold here in the Chicago area, so I got condensation on my concrete. But that one sucks air in year round, and the other one's just pulling air from inside the sump. And you can see it makes a decent foam. I clean out once to twice a week.
How does that smell?
It's actually not too bad if you don't let it go more than a week.
And that's custom built. You built that skimmer yourself.
Yep. This is a 60-gallon HDPE tank, flipped upside down with the bottom of it technically cut off. And then I machined a PVC sheet to make a locking collar. And then I bought UV-rated PVC, and I made a cup out of it.
Someone says, does the DIY needle wheel impellers, do they hold up to the test of time? Anything you do to improve on them?
No, I wouldn't do anything to improve them. And I'm just going to grab one right now. Sorry, I'm kind of walking backwards here. Got a rubber band stuck in this thing. So, yeah, this is one of them here. This is a standard classic style. I run this, and sorry, you guys are gonna get to see a mess. I don't know if I got another one back here. Here it is.
These were custom designed by you.
Yep, I did a video series on them. No 3D printers, a drill press, and yeah, pretty much a drill press and some hole saws and drill bits. And I made these, and I yanked the standard impeller off a J-Bow pump, and I retrofitted these on. So after 2 years of use, they're still both looking good. The only thing I had that was in this one was in the pump I replaced. Actually, it might be this exact one. I might have swapped it out, but or no, I kept the original. There were some little little shells stuck in it, but it hadn't damaged anything. So I just put it in vinegar and dissolved them out, and that was it. They were just some limpet snails because they multiply like crazy in my system.
What size Jabo pumps are you running?
15,000s.
Oh wow! And they come with that new style controller that I'm seeing up there. Okay.
Yeah, they actually run less because here's the old one here, and they were running like 150 watts, and now the new ones only run at 100.
Huh.
But
Interesting. You know the thing about those, I don't use Jabo pumps anymore, but the thing about them that always go is the controller.
yeah, and really the old one, it had a poor, my other one had a poor DC connection, and it just started heating up, and eventually the connection just failed. And I probably could have made it work, but I decided to just use a spare pump I had. So, uh, but just to give you an idea, I cut custom tops for everything, uh, just so you understand just how big this skimmer is. It's a 36 or 34 inches in diameter.
Oh.
So a good chunk of it is underwater. So there's I got a little DIY filter sock tray and a few things in here, but yeah, you can see there's little limpet snails crawling all over the place and some other kind of snail there. They
Okay.
breed like crazy in here.
Yeah, don't drop the phone in the water, please.
So that's the skimmer though, and the gravity feed drains here. It does not turn over a high volume of water. It probably only turns over the whole. I think the last time I calculated it, it's about once an hour it'll turn over the whole tank.
But you have good with all those fish and how much you feed. Your nitrates in the 10 range. That's a good
Well,
number.
I'll tell you what. Oh, you're making me think I should test it here later on during this. It's not a hard test to do. Uh, I do also, when the water exits the skimmer is just in this tank. It's got a couple options to where to go. It'll either go to the refugium, it'll go to my heat exchanging tank, or it will come into the calcium reactor, or it'll go into a UV sterilizer. So I run an 80 watt high output Emperor Aquatics UV sterilizer, which is technically undersized for this tank. It's only about 1/3 of the size I should have, but uh, my LFS had it used, and I could not pass it up for what he was selling it for because he was practically giving it away. It just needed a couple of parts and a new bulb and quartz sleeves. So,
All right.
uh, and my calcium reactor, I'm running the largest Geo they make, the commercial version. Still in my original 20-pound cylinder. I run a carbon dose for the regulator, which is done good. I do keep an extra Neptune systems, just a solenoid valve in there as a safety precaution. If pH gets too low, it'll kill the power to the regulator, but it'll also close that solenoid. And now I do feed with a Kimura here. Uh,
Why do you cover up the screen?
so I do a lot of bioluminescence viewing at night sometimes, and those little lights, you wouldn't believe how bright they are when you're going for pitch black darkness. So
Ah,
you'll see a few of my things are covered up, not all of them, but that's why. I've had a couple people go, "What's up with that? You just don't want us to see?" And I'm like, "No, it's just they're very blinding when you're trying to look in pitch black darkness."
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I had to. I think the Kimura was pretty obvious. Like, why would you not want to see the flow rate? But
Yeah. I just know the drip rate. So for anyone asking about the mantis, there she
there
is.
she is. Yeah,
And she's looking right at the camera.
yeah, and she's slowly coming. Uh,
But Yeah, no. Usually, all I do is I just look at that and I go, yeah, it's dripping about what it should be. It's good. So I did recently clean this out. I pulled all the media out of this, and I hand washed every handful of it to get dust off of it and stuff.
How
So,
much dust did you have on it? Was it a
oh,
lot?
there was like a pile of sand in the bottom of a bucket about probably a quarter inch deep at least.
Huh. I would have thought the low pH would have melted almost anything.
I think it was melting it. It was just kind of the as it slowly goes, there was stuff getting kicked up, and I'm sure some of it might have been detritus coming into the into the reactor from the tank. So
Okay.
I had it in there like a year and a half though, and I was like, yeah, I think I should clean that.
And you're pretty happy with the geos.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I could say that it's more of an annoyance than a problem is every now and then you'll see there's quite a few bubbles in here. I will have my recirculation pump get into like a vapor lock and it'll stop circulating and kind of get stuck. And because the gas comes in here and it's not circulating, gas builds up here and it can't get enough momentum to suck water through the pump to get the circulation going. So when that happens, I need to pull the gas and then I'll hook just a, I actually got it laying here, an RO tube to that and put it into the tank. And then I'll just let it run for a while with the pump unplugged to purge that gas out. Because the suction of it, the Kimura is pulling the water in through it. So if this is left open, it'll pull air bubbles into it from the negative pressure.
I've been running a geos now for just a couple of days, and I've noticed like gas building up. So I had a Vertex, and my Vertex broke, so I'm using I think Pre is in the chat. I'm using his calcium reactor, and I do notice that some CO2 gas. And I was thinking about that. I know the Vertex and other one has ways to sort of purge, like when gas pools at the top. There's way to recirculate it into the system, but I was a little. I can just look and see that that's going to be a problem. Oh, look,
Yeah, she came out. Sorry, the glass is not cleaned in here, but she's probably looking, going, "Am I gonna get a meal again?" So yeah, she's about 3 inches long now.
how big does she get?
I honestly I can't remember on these how big this particular species get. They're not. Oh, are you gonna eat a worm? Guess not. She's a spear though, so I've actually she's knows her feeding stick so well. I got to be careful when I'm putting food on the end of it because I don't want to get stabbed one day.
Diacanthus Reef says, how frequently have you been able to sit down to observe luminescence throughout the summer off season?
Uh, I tried to get in. I was doing about once a week, and lately the last couple months I haven't been able to. But I have seen some crazy stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that you could barely see it with your eyes, and it's like going and looking at stars with a telescope. You can't look right at it. With some of it, you kind of have to let your peripheral vision pick it up. So there's some really tiny stuff going on that's very frequent, but I've had a couple of things that they almost look like roots of a plant light up, very fine, but they might cover like 3 to 5 inches square, and it'll just light up for a second or so because something touches it. But they're extremely fine, like thickness of a hair fiber. It'll just be like a big web of it goes off, and then it's you just don't see it.
Devin, thank you for joining. Devin, I would just like to say thanks to Devin because I wouldn't have gotten this up and running without him because this this stuff is hard. Like getting this streaming stuff, it used to be so easy with Hangouts, and now there's like grabbing audio, doing this, stream quality. Uh,
Yeah,
so
thanks, Devin. So, but that's kind of what happens there. And then here is my 120 here. This is all just heat exchanger. So let me put a couple things away here. There you can see inside there. It's just my PEX coil, and I don't use electric heaters. I use my house hot water heater to heat my system.
so your house, I remember this being one of the coolest things. So basically, the hot water from your house is running in those pipes, and that's water from the tank. That's when it's pumped through that, it gets heated. The water doesn't mix, obviously, but
Nope. Yeah. Yeah. This is the recirc pump here that's tapped into my hot water line. So it just makes a loop between a hot water line and the hot water heater, and it's controlled by my temp controller, which is on the opposite side, my Renko,
okay.
and then the Renko is plugged into the Apex for double redundancy. So if the temp gets too high, the Apex will kill the whole thing, and because it requires the recirculation pump to get hot water in the loop, it won't heat up if the Apex kills it.
Now, Alex, I know you work in technology, and for someone who has such a big tank, I'm surprised you don't have more automation on your system. Like, why is that? I know you have an Apex, you've said it, but I think I just realized that you have a giant tank, and it's not like
Yeah,
overly
so
controlled.
uh, my background is wireless telecommunications. I've got quite a bit of experience on the facility side for power and cooling, fire suppression systems, uh, AC and DC power systems. And one of the things I've learned over the years with all that is that you never want to throw all your eggs in one basket. I love having the Apex controller, and I do utilize it. It controls my lights. It has my skimmer pumps on it. It has my temp controller on it. It has some calcium reactor controls on it. What it does not do, though, is it does not control my main circulation pump. It does not control the water flow pumps in either one of the tanks. Those are on separate controllers. And the whole idea behind that is uh, you're trying to eliminate having a single point of failure. If my Apex were to lose its brain, I don't want the whole thing to be gone. And I know that the reflow hammerhead pump I have, even if the thing's spraying water out of the side of it because the seal fails, that thing will keep pumping water through it until it shorts out or there ain't no more water to pump. And I'd much rather have that happen than some kind of glitch that just kills the pumps and and kind of SOL. So I also have things on redundant electrical circuits.
You're making me feel bad.
Sorry, I know you had a brain a brain on an Apex die a long time
Uh,
ago.
uh, uh? Oh man. And listen, I am not blaming my Apex or my controller. Let me just say controller because I'm not
Yeah.
trying to. But yeah, and each time it was like one piece of user error code. But yeah,
And I'll be honest. I mean, even the industry I work at, millions, tens of millions of dollars are spent on equipment, and anything that's mechanical, uh, I can guarantee you it will break at some point in its lifetime. It is inevitable. Uh, we do not possess the technology to make machines that work forever without maintenance or just fail due to wear and tear. So like, you always got to be prepared for that to happen, which is why I put in a lot of levels of redundancy I did. Uh, I also keep a good emergency kit on hand that even my wife could use uh, in a real bad jam.
Yeah, I think I think you and I spoke about, but at one point I had my controller controlling every aspect of my tank, including ramping the pumps up and down, and that failed when I was on a business trip, and so not even my power heads were like pumping water. So I think now a lot of my stuff is plugged into the Apex, but like some things, like if my Apex fails, my return pump, is on the Apex, but my power heads, my MP40s, like those will
Yep.
continue working.
Yeah, that's a great way to have things. It just gives you one extra level of protection.
So all the
Yeah.
flow, so it doesn't matter what happens, all the flow to my tank will not die with one event. So at least there be
Yep.
some flow. Because you know what? Earlier this year, it doesn't even take your apex. Like earlier this year, power outage, and then when the power came on, it flickered a little bit, and you know, a lot of things in my house, a lot of electronics and stuff in my house burned out, and that was a little wake up call. Dev is saying the backup for your backups.
Yeah. Yeah. Just going back to the industry I'm in, it's like imagine a building that draws 3 megawatts of AC power at any given time, and having a generator to back it up, a backup generator to back up that generator, and batteries that can power that much equipment for up to 4 hours
Huh?
or more.
What?
That's the type of facilities you get into when you start doing industrial wireless communications. So the amount of money that's spent on backup systems uh, is very, and they're all split AB power systems too. So you can't afford to fail. It's just backup for backup for backup.
I have a question. Are those threadfin cardinals? Did you just pick them up as a pair from the get go?
There were three of them. Now I'm, I'm looking around to see. I thought I just saw three of them. I originally started off several months ago. I had picked up like a dozen of them.
A dozen?
Yeah, and their numbers have just slowly gone down.
You think it's just bullying or?
It might be. I know that they could be a little bit more finicky. Oh no, there's a third one still over there. He's just hiding up in a corner. Uh, but I think I do get a little bit of natural just attrition over time. It's hard to tell with some small fish just because you never really understand how old they are when you get them, even if they're not their full size. But same thing. Like I had 5 Royal Grandmas 2 years ago. I started with, and I'm at one right now. So, but yeah, fish loss was in here every now and then. I had one fairy wrasse I lost uh, about a month or two ago. That was just kind of random, but
What do
I know
you?
everything's pretty happy because the Banggai Cardinals are constantly breeding. They're not holding out. The Pajama Cardinals are breeding.
What do you have? I know
So
you mentioned urchins in the other tank. What do you have in the reef tank for a cleanup crew?
I used to have a lot of urchins in here, and I slowly started putting them into the other tank as they ran out of food, and I just, you know, I wanted to just let life cycles do their thing, and uh, so I had at one point in here, I had about 10 sea urchins when my algae was at its peak, and then a lot of them got migrated to the big tank. So I used to use pincushion urchins. I find that they, despite popping frags off and stuff, the rocks, they are fairly effective, and they tend to not damage things too much, other than popping frags off the rocks and carrying them around. But as the algae started to go away, I also uh, I'm really a big believer in Blackfoot crocus snails,
Blackfoot
which
trochus snails.
yeah, they are probably the hardiest snail out there. And I'm looking for them because they all hide during the day. And you can see a couple of shells in the back. Um, they know better than to come out during the day because they'll get harassed by the wrasse. Um, and I also got a little baby trigger in here right now for some pest cleanup.
What kind of pest?
I got him in there, and I put a little white tip trigger in here as a test to see if it would eat vermitid snails.
Uh,
Uh, which some of them seem to be gone. I mean, I'm sure he's picking on some stuff I don't want him to, but he's so little. I mean, there he is right there. He's just a little baby, so he needs another month or two, and I'm gonna put him into the big tank once he's ready.
how do you get them out?
With that guy, it'll be pretty easy because triggers tend to have a single hiding spot, which in this case happens to be this rock. So when I want him out, I'll just go in at night and I'll just pick the whole rock out and put it in a bucket, or I'll just transfer it over to the other tank. I have caught multiple fish out of this tank, and put them into the other one.
Very nice. You
So,
mentioned you could give us some top-down shots.
mm-hmm. We can go top down. Do we want? We got orange filter on or orange filter off?
Let's go with the orange filter. Yeah.
All right. Let me just kill this white light here. All right. So my somewhat scratched up viewing box. So
Wait, while you prepare that, what are you running for lighting? Lighting and flow, for circulation pumps.
so flow is two Gyre 250s that are on 100% random. And I had additional pump on the SPS side, but I took it off for now. When I was having my slow coral crash, I wasn't sure if maybe I was beating some stuff up with too much flow, which I thought was kind of hard to believe, but uh, I just have that off for now. I'll probably put it back on in the near future. Uh, that was just running wide open though, no controller.
What happened to
And then,
The Rossmont is on the other tank.
yep, the other tank's running 3 Rossmonts. 2 of them are on a controller, and one is not. So, and they're all ramped up. They'll go from like 20% to 100%, and they go all day. So,
All right.
yeah, lighting wise, I do a T5 LED combo, 4 radions and 8 T5s.
So even though you don't have corals in the tank, in the other tank, you still have T5s and radions over it.
No, this one's just got 3 AI Vega colors, which unfortunately the fans are starting to go on them, so they're slowly dying. So I think I'm gonna get a couple of 6-foot 50/50 reef bright strips and put that over this tank
Okay.
as a replacement. So, not XHOs though, just their standard ones. I think that'll be plenty to light that big tank up and still allow me to put some corals in eventually. So, all right, how's that coming in?
That looks good, man. That thing is gigantic. Look at the mouth.
Yeah, you can kind of get it all. Yeah, you can get it all in there. Let me grab something that'll give some scale. All right. So here is one frag plug. Oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Oh well. One frag plug. I will put this on the bottom next to the bubble coral.
Don't drop the phone, Alex, please.
It's sitting in my thing. So that frag plug is on the sand bottom now. That gives everybody a little scale on that bubble coral.
Jeez. That is huge, man.
Yeah, I'd say it. Well, I made it mad. It closed a little, but yeah, it's a big coral. There's no doubt about that. Um, so yeah, I lost a few heads of my frog spawns and stuff. I got a few of them left. Just my standard green and purple. I think I lost a dozen heads of that. Still got a lot left, but got a couple over here. Unfortunately, some of my hammers I died during my crash. My Calastria, part of that one's still alive. Um, so I gotta move that soon because that frog spawn's not gonna agree with it. The green Cinularia, which that thing's probably about a good foot across. And then my anemone that refuses to split.
But just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, it does not want to go. So I have my Rhodactis mushrooms there are jamming. Got a few different varieties, four different varieties of them now going good. We moved a couple over. And then now we're getting into Zoa territory.
Okay.
So hold on, I gotta move tops here, so I'm just gonna leave this here for a second. Yeah, so this is the main part of the Zoa garden now, which they're not just little frags anymore. Um,
Those are
the,
huge.
the Nirvanas are growing out massive, and there's scrambled eggs, Rastas, gobstoppers, pink galaxies, some blondies, uh, Gatorade, I don't know, blue something.
How do you remember the names of all of these?
I don't, most of them. There's some white zombies in there. I think these are Bam Bams right here. And then, I don't remember the name. I just got this one up at Wrap. That thing's pretty crazy looking. Oh. You see way down there, there's some Captain Americas.
Did you put those there, or they just fell down there?
They fell down there like 8 months ago, and I thought they were just gone. And then I was like, oh, there they are. So,
Look at that coralline algae coverage. Woo.
oh yeah, it's layers. Well, here's where my oh, why can I not think of the names of these corals right now? All right, I need an assist. What kind of monophore? Setosa.
Setosa.
Yeah, so this whole thing here was a Setosa colony, and so was this, and that all died during the crash.
And covered by coralline algae now.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is. I mean, half these frag plugs here, they were all different kinds of corals. They died during the crash, unfortunately. So I decided, this one's not open. This is a Palauan, Biota Palau green Cinularia, which this thing is intensely green. Try to, I might be able to do that.
You ordered that online?
My LFS got it in. He got a shipment of Biota Palau stuff.
Okay.
So, oh, that totally messed that up. But you look at that green, and then you look at the other green Signalaria. There's not even a. They're
Yeah.
not even in the same ballpark.
Wow.
It's not.
I had a question. How long has your system been running?
It was 2 years in August.
2 years. You have that much Coraline coverage, layers in
Oh
two
yeah, that
years.
that happened a long time ago. So I see the little trigger just went in his hole. Uh, and got some more Zoa Garden here, and then um, clove polyps. I got these ones that are I can't remember the name they call them, the orange with the green center. So they are really starting to grow nicely there. Um, yeah, a few more Zoas here. Uh, also got another Stereonepthia colony here, and my main colony of it's right here.
Yeah, you have a
This is
lot. You have a lot of those soft coral tree
it,
type.
it, ow, little bugger bit me. Sorry. So this is a Stereonepthia. So these are like a carnation coral, but they're photosynthetic. So here I'll touch it real quick and get it to close up. But you can see on there, there's actual. It looks like a carnation coral. It has scarolites on it. So they're really cool. This one's got a little yellow in it. You just can't. You can see it a little bit with the orange filter on, but it's a
Um,
really cool coral.
Retro Reef said those clove polyps, they're called firework cloves.
Ah, thank you. Now there's a couple different varieties out there, so. And then my leptos, they're recovering the orange one before my coral crash was covering that whole plug and everything, and then it died off a bit. Uh, got some greens, pallies I inherited from my sister. A couple of hand cans there. Don't have too many of those.
There's a pipefish. Just saw a
Hmm.
pipefish.
Oh yeah, my dragon face. I had that guy for probably a year and a half now. I've tried to get more of them, but they just don't seem to. I had another pair I got, and they did okay for a while, and then just lost one, and then lost another. So not the best things to ship, but uh, even get them from my local guy. Uh, got a few more leathers back here and a bunch of rock. My sister had a tank I tore down many months ago in the spring, and that's what's left of it. All right, let's go to SPS.
We got another question. Is your wife's system still up and running?
It is. It's in a little bit of state of neglect, but um, it's more my system now than anything. I just got a few Zoas in it, and she's got a pair of clowns, and they're doing good. It just gets overrun with cyano, and it just needs more water changes. So, uh, actually, I'm over here. My tort coral came off the rock. Needs to get a reglue. Unfortunately, this SPF section is looking pretty sad. Um, so this used to be my purple bonsai.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's all gone. Um, there was a tort up here that's gone. This one, which is just an unnamed, is coming back pretty good. There was another different frag in here that it was integrated with that died. Um, that's Orange Passion right there. That one's still going. There's another unnamed one, a Pavona. Unfortunately, that colony I had going died. And a lot of my purple stylo died, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just got a few heads.
Ooh.
There was a home wrecker in about the center that died. Um, this one here's starting to encrust out and has actually been growing pretty strong. I don't know what it is, so I can't remember. And then my one big colony I had going, uh, it had some tip damage, but it's actually starting to regrow pretty good. So I think it'll be okay. It's
What
another piece of this one.
what coral is that? That looks so good.
Oh, it's a type of acro. I don't know the any fancy name for it. I just picked up my LFS and it grew from a little tiny 1 inch frag, and I'd say it's hand sized. It's pretty good size. It's probably my most successful colony I've had. Um, yeah, unfortunately, when I had my coral crash, I just lost a lot of SPS. Even this Pavona here, uh, I think about a third of the top of it was dead, just around the tips of everything, and it's regrown and it's recovering. But yeah, the just needed to start doing a bunch of water changes and stuff, and it finally got everything going again. So
Woken said he got here late, but he wants the quick synopsis of what happened with the coral crash because he's heard you mention it a couple of times.
yeah, what exactly happened? I don't know. I even had done a ICP test, uh, and everything was good there. Uh, I I swapped out uh, all my RO filters, the RO membranes. Uh, I started doing water changes. I just switched to a standby of just using reef crystals, and um, seems like everything's just been, whatever was in there stopped, and it stabilized out and things started growing again. But there was not anything very apparent for a long time. I thought it might be some kind of chemical warfare, possibly from that bubble coral, because it's so big. I mean, it has a very long sweepers on it, and I thought maybe it's emitting something in the water. Um, but I honestly don't know.
All right. PR Fish Girl is saying hello all. I hope she didn't just join because we've been here for an hour and probably gonna be ending soon. So Alex, this system is 1,700 gallons. Well, what
Yep.
size tank did you have before this? You know,
So when I was living in Metro Detroit, uh, right before I moved, I had a 120 display, but realistically, there was probably about 300 gallons of water in it.
all right. So you've had small tanks, and you've okay. I thought maybe you just went from nothing to this big tank here. So, all right.
No, I've been in the hobby for, oh geez, probably 25 years now. On and off, freshwater, saltwater. So I've done a lot of different things over the years.
Yeah, you know what? I every time I talk to you, I think I keep forgetting that you've been doing this for you've been in the hobby, in the industry for a while. I forget that sometime.
It's all right. I forget it myself sometimes.
That's a nice tank. I didn't make it up there for Reefapalooza this year, but hopefully next year I'll get a tour, and everything
Yeah,
will be back to
yeah.
normal.
Hopefully it's. I actually did prep it in case I had a couple friends I knew were going to be up there asking. I was like, well, you're not going to see the most pretty thing in the world, but hey, the fishies are always happy to see everybody.
Oh, look at that! That's a ton. How many fish do you think is in this tank?
So I don't know, somewhere between 20 and 30, maybe.
Oh, okay.
That's just a guess. Every now and then, because I got a couple little ones. Like I do keep. Last time I counted, there were three purple pseudochromis in here. There's a couple of damsels. And here's another purple pseudochromis there. Oh, yep, there's the third one. So yeah, there's three of them still kicking in here.
All right.
So you want to know how you can keep purple pseudochromis without being aggressive towards everything? Put them in a really aggressive tank.
And okay, and they behave themselves.
Well, hey, they're not afraid of the big boys in here at all. They'll go in and they'll every now and then someone will try to take food from the puffer, which they usually retreat. But I think the only guy I gotta watch out for is this little blue line trigger because they can get pretty nasty when they get bigger. But just have to keep an eye on them.
Another question from producer: where did you get the live rock from in the beginning?
So I got that for my LFS. It was a Caribbean aquaculture that's not Tampa Bay saltwater. Oh, what the heck's the name of that? I think it's Gulf Live Rock. I got 60 pounds of live rock, 60 pounds of sand. The live sand went in here, and the live rock all went in the refugium and has not been taken out of there since. And that seeded the entire system with life. So I have more more mysid shrimp than I know what to do with. Let's see there. There's some swimming around there. So, yeah, there's, and even, well, there, you can see all those are amphipods running
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
I can tell you what, at night, it's like cockroaches scattering when the lights are out.
Are you looking for any more fish for the fish tank?
Uh, that's a tough question. It would not be many if I do. Maybe a select one or two. Uh, this is a this tank. I mean, if everyone knows their fish really well, there's a lot of fish in here that get really big. Uh, so a lot of it's like the flamingi tanks, not even half size. The clown triggers got a long way. The big angels all got away. A lot of these wrasses get big. So uh, maybe one or two more fish, and that's going to probably be it in this tank.
All right. A moray eel. Yeah, a moray eel.
Well, I made a deal with my wife, no eels. And to be honest, as much as I'd want one, there are some fish in here. They might, at least the type of moray I'd want, they probably eat them. So
How long did it take to build the fish room?
I spent roughly 2 years building the aquariums and the fish room and all the plumbing, electrical. Yeah, it was about 2 years
Years?
roughly.
Not 2 months. You realize you said years, right?
Yes, I will add the caveat in there that a year and a half of that I was going to school for an MBA while working full time too. So
Okay. Okay.
I could have done it a lot faster. I did it. I had a budget. I could not just purchase everything all at once, so it was all in stages. Um, I could afford to buy the wood to build the tanks and the stands. I did that, and then I save up some more to do waterproofing or order the glass. I just did it all in phases there. But to be honest, it takes a lot of research with this. The humidity control is very important in this space because of the amount of water. I have a lot of mitigation in place for that. Just building structures that hold this much weight. This big tank did have a bowing issue at first, which had to be corrected with additional bracing.
What?
So, yeah, you always do fill tests, and this tank bowed. I think in the center of the side panels, it was bowing out. I think it was either a quarter to a third of an inch bow it had on it. So when I saw that, I drained it that same night. So, but if I did this all over again, I probably would do my tank construction a little different. I would just buy 4 pieces of glass and have the sides and the walls, and I'd just build my own base and my own top frame, and that way I could disassemble it very quickly if I needed to, and take it on the go a little easier.
I'll take it on the go. Okay.
Well, I mean, these things are not exactly going to leave this space ever unless they get cut up with a saw.
Yeah.
So, plus if I go to all glass, I can go even bigger.
Dicanthus has a comment. I'm not sure what these mean. I'd want Piscivorus as well, so I can understand that. Would love to get my hands on a Gymnothorax. I sing Tina someday.
Oh, I know that name. It's the name of a fish. I just can't think of it.
All right, let me Google that for you, though.
I know I've heard it. I just can't think of what it.
No noticeable concrete sag.
Huh?
Do you notice any concrete sagging?
Oh, concrete sagging? No, it's on the slab of the basement. Everything's. I still got the same stress crack that was in the basement when I started, and no,
Okay.
nothing's gone way out of level or anything. But it's this stand is not just 4 legs. Uh,
The Gymnothorax as Signy in okay, that's a spotted moray eel.
okay, yeah, no. As much as eels could be nice, but at the same time they could be a little tricky. Just with everything you want to get. So that's looking all the way down. So this is the stand construction. So uh, this thing could probably hold a couple pickup trucks on it.
All right.
Having that weight distributed is really important. So
All right. Alex, thank you very much for your time.
well, thank you for having me.
We've been going for
I
a
was
little
happy to
over
share.
for an hour. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Yeah, that is a stand. Alex, you got to do an update video.
I know. I might actually have some time. Because I'm not working like 11 hours a day, like 5 or 6 days a week. So I might get the time to do it. I'm going to try. I know there's been a lot of requests. So
Alex, man, Alex, I am going to put your Instagram in the description of the video. It is
all right.
AlexG's_aquarium. So that's Alex G's. That's a terrible. I don't know if I can get the Instagram. Ooh. Alex G's underscore aquarium. Yeah, follow him on Instagram. He posts, pretty frequent updates of his tank and his fish room. So if you want more information there, but as soon as Alex posts an update video, I'll add it to the description of this video. But thank you very much, Alex. This was fun. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was good streaming. It felt good. Hey, if you guys, I am going to put my email in the chat. But if anyone wants to, jump on next week's stream and be featured, we can ask you questions about your tank. Well, I can ask you questions about your tank. Let me know. I'll be happy to, talk tanks. So good night, everyone. Good night, Devin. Thank you again for your help. Could not have done this without you. Thank you, Woody, Awoken, PR Fish Girl, PR Fish Girl. Exclusive was on earlier. Woody, Retro Reef, Explicit. Everyone who joined. Thank you and good night, everyone. And producer.
Thank you.
Thanks.